It's going to arrive at the origin port overseas. And at that point, a couple things happen. One is the manifest from the freight forwarding company is typically being surrendered to U.S. Customs here, meaning that we're going to transmit what manifest information is. And second is the importer security filing deadline is starting. And that deadline for the importer security filing is 24 hours prior to the loading of the vessel by law, okay? Now, I will give you a little secret here is that the steamship lines currently don't transmit the date that a container is loaded. So Customs is measuring the loading actually based on the day that it's leaving. So it actually gives you a little more time. Typically at Scarborough, we recommend that we get this information 48 to 72 hours in advance or at the time that the shipment is being loaded. If we could get it at the time that the shipment is being loaded, that's great because we can transmit the security filing to U.S. Customs as far in advance as need be. And these are the elements that are required from your vendor. We need to know the seller's name and address, the buyer's name and address. We need to have your importer EIN number, which if we're the customs broker that's transmitting that, we've already got that. So you don't need to give that to your vendor overseas to put on their documents. So again, that importer EIN number, IRS number, don't have them put that. Don't put that on a purchase order. Your customs broker has that on file. It was required on the power of attorney when you signed one for a customs broker to handle your import clearances. We need to know the manufacturer or supplier. And again, that may be different than the seller of the goods. The ship-to party in the United States, the country of origin, the harmonized tariff number to a 6-digit level. A harmonized tariff number is 10 digits, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. The container stuffing location and the consolidator. Those are the 10 elements that are required for us to transmit to Customs, and then the steamship company actually transmits 11 and 12th element there, the master bill of lading and house bill of lading. So anyways, at the time your shipment is being loaded overseas, we want to be asking them for the ISF information or the importer security filing information. Timing again on that, we were asking for it 72 hours in advance. What is the potential risk if you don't file it on time? One, fines up to $5,000 per violation. And the second is up to $10,000 max per bill of lading. It could also generate exams and holds and or cargo releases held if the ISF data is not received. And why the different levels or listed here for potential violations. And I'll tell you one of them is that for some companies like General Motors and some of the large companies, you know, these small violations, they have to have their goods continue to move. That's the number one thing. If manufacturing, we work with a ton of manufacturers, if they're missing a piece on the line and that line shuts down, that assembly line shuts down, it could cost them $1 million a day. So having that potential risk be holding the freight, holding the cargo, delaying it somehow is oftentimes a larger penalty than some of these violations. But anyways, Customs is measuring that violation based on loading date or the date that it leaves. So we've been pretty successful in getting security filings for our clients. And most of the import trade is very good at providing this information today, because this import security filing actually started in 2009. So anyways, pretty good at getting this information with regards to that. And again, it's just all about risk. It's all about protecting the borders is what the security filing is about. So now let's talk about the goods get loaded on board. Say it's on board a vessel or a plane. In that journey before it arrives here. So typically from a freight forwarding standpoint, you're going to get a lot of information as to when something is going to leave. Okay, you're going to get an estimated time of departure. We can even acquire the actual date that it left. And then we're going to get an actual time that it's going to arrive in the United States. Up until that, especially if it's ocean, there's not a lot of updated information that you're going to get in that time period. So if you're shipping ocean, just expect that there might be a lag there. So say it's coming from Shanghai to LA and then moving into Canada or docking in LA, you know, that's roughly 14 days. Okay, freight forwarders, we can provide you that information all day long as far as when it left and when it's supposed to arrive. But there's not a lot of additional updated information that you're going to see until it actually arrives in the U.S. port in the United States, whether that's New York, Seattle, LA, whatever it might be. So when the goods finally do arrive, let's talk for a second real quick what happens when goods arrive in the United States. First, let's look at truck. A truck shipment clearing the Mexico and or Canada border. That truck, the moment that it crosses, customs entries will have been filed and so forth. It will clear customs. That's where it clears. It clears at the ports. It clears at the ports, typically right when it crosses, which is good. Air freight, we see air freight Chicago direct into or say Shanghai direct into Chicago, or Italy direct into Chicago, whatever it might be. Typically, customs clearance will happen there unless it's some already got an inland destination point. For example, Kansas City, where I am today, most goods that fly in, they will fly into Chicago or Dallas, and they'll truck to Kansas City on a non-direct basis, and then they'll customs clear here in Kansas City. So anyways, that might change, but it's all based on where the end destination is, typically where you're going to clear customs. And that's a good thing. Rail cars, same thing. Rail cars clear at the border as trucks. Oceans, again, ocean shipments. We've got a couple variations there. Is that an ocean shipment consigned to Kansas City? Where I am, it could clear customs in LA only, or it could clear customs at the inland port. So it could clear customs in Kansas City. It could clear in Chicago or Des Moines or Omaha, wherever the shipment is destined to. Now, what my recommendation is I recommend that you customs clear at the port that's closest to you, so that can become your home port, so that you as an importer will start to begin getting a relationship with your local customs agents. So for example, my clients that customs clear in Kansas City, that we have a lot of cargo that goes through LA, but it moves in from LA and it moves inbound all the way to Kansas City. So that also gives us the opportunity that should there be something wrong, maybe we don't have a document to customs clear the shipment, that we've got some additional time as well to customs clear the product, because I want it to clear here. For one, if something goes on in an exam, it's cheaper for me to clear to handle those examinations in an inland port. So if it's Kansas City, Des Moines, Omaha, Chicago, Dallas, those ports are easier and a little bit more cost effective to handle examinations than say New York or LA, because those are some of the largest entry ports in the country. So I recommend that you get a relationship with your customs agent, try to clear it at what we would call your home port.